6 hidden gem horror movies to stream this October. This is Nerdist Now. It's the spookiest time of year, less than a month until Election Day. But it's also the Halloween season, and with a global pandemic keeping us indoors, and wearing masks if we go out, we're going to need some scary entertainment to keep us occupied. But after you go through all the classics, once you've seen Michael Myers and Christopher Lee's Dracula enough times, you're gonna need some new-to-you horror. Luckily, there are some truly terrifying hidden gem horror movies available to stream right now that will bring fright and delight to your pumpkin-spiced hearts. Here are 6 of our favorite offbeat horror choices to stream this Halloween season. Hush! If you're a fan of Netflix's The Haunting of Hill House, Dr. Sleep, or the vastly underrated Oculus, then you'll know filmmaker Mike Flanagan. He's cornered the market recently on atmospheric fright, and one you absolutely can't sleep on is 2016's Hush. It follows a hearing-impaired woman living alone in the middle of nowhere and a night of terror as she deals with an intruder with murderous intent. True to Flanagan form, the movie is all about shadows and silence, but when it kicks off, it really kicks. Don't watch this one alone, or if you have to, you better hope you have your phone close. All the Colors of the Dark. Giallo is one of the great horror subgenres, the Italian murder mystery that predated the slasher flick by a decade. And while Dario Argento gets rightly praised for his work in Gialli, it's this Sergio Martino joint from 1972 we want to highlight. Using the backdrop of foggy London town and imbuing it with satanic cults, trippy David Lynch nightmare sequences, and one of the best scores in all of horror, All the Colors of the Dark is a gothic, psychedelic, psychosexual thriller that keeps you guessing until the very end. The Hole in the Ground. If little kids creep you out, and you find yourself siding with single mothers with accents, you're going to want to check out this Irish chiller from 2019. What do you do if you realize your son isn't really your son? Playing on the Celtic folklore of the Changeling, A Hole in the Ground is a slow-burn creature feature that gets deeply weird and gloriously grody in its final half hour. Think of it like The Descent meets The Babadook. And it's a good reminder not to live anywhere near the biggest hole you've ever seen. Satan's Slave. Here in the West, most religious horror has a Christian slant. Vampires are afraid of crosses and holy water, as well you know. But this early 80s Indonesian horror classic shows us the Muslim version of the undead, and it's absolutely terrifying. After a family loses its faith following the death of their beloved matriarch, they are tormented by ravenous ghouls straight out of Phantasm or Salem's Lot. This movie was unavailable for a very long time and only recently made its way to North America. You can also stream its 2017 remake, which is also really good. Scare Me! You can't get much newer than this. Scare Me is a claustrophobic horror comedy that premiered at 2020's Sundance Film Festival. In it, writer-director Josh Rubin plays Fred, a wannabe horror writer who travels to a cabin in the woods to write his werewolf epic. It just so happens his cabin's right next door to a super famous and talented horror writer, played by The Boys' Aya Cash. After a blackout, the two writers are forced to tell each other scary stories to stave off boredom. Fiction bleeds with reality as the stories start to manifest, and the secrets they each keep come to the surface. But in a funny way. V. Our final pick is a supremely weird Russian Gothic flick from 1967, which has a very Evil Dead-esque final act. A young priest must sit vigil over the body of a dead girl in a remote farmhouse for 3 nights. 3 nights with a corpse at a time without TV or internet sounds bad enough, but it's made much worse when the body reanimates every night to tempt him into wickedness. Elements of zombie, vampire, and demon mythology converge in this Soviet gem, and it culminates in one of the most wildly impressive and terrifying sequences in horror during the priest's final night with the body. It could go better for him. And there you have it, 6 horror films you maybe haven't seen, but you definitely should see on streaming this month. What are your favorite recent horror movie discoveries? What film scared you the most this year? Let us know in the comments. And for more of the spookiest and kookiest, fasten your looking balls to Nerdist.com.